Now, with the backlash against cell phones, Wendy Williams is the latest to call out an audience member whose phone rang.
I have been living in a sober house.
Listen, this system has failed. This system has failed from top to bottom regarding this guardian and everybody involved with that.
Are you allowed to go out?
No, I am not allowed to go out.
She was diagnosed with that a couple of years ago, and the guardian is now saying it's permanent, it's getting worse. Who are you going to believe, me or your lying eyes here? It's day and night.
I want my freedom back. How about that?
Fans of former talk show host Wendy Williams are showing their support for her after she revealed that she's been diagnosed with frontotemporal dementia and aphasia.
I have no money, and I'm going to tell you something. If it happens to me,
y'all, this is honestly chilling. Imagine being one of the most famous talk show hosts in the world. Then suddenly you're locked away, cut off from your family, and forced to live in a place where you feel completely trapped. Well, that's exactly what Wendy Williams claims is happening to her. And let me tell you, the details will shock you. From heartbreaking allegations of being isolated in a so-called memory unit to the explosive claims about her guardian controlling her every move. This story is way darker than anyone could have imagined. But the real question is Wendy really being silenced? Or is there's something bigger at play? Let's get into it. All right, besties, we need to talk about Wendy Williams. If you've been following her story, you know it's been a roller coaster. We all remember her as the larger-than-life talk show queen who wasn't afraid to spill the tea on anybody. But now, she's claiming she's basically being held against her will. And the craziest part, some of the people closest to her are saying the same thing. Now, in case you haven't heard, Wendy recently spoke out in a new documentary, TMZ Presents, Saving Wendy Williams. And what she said has left everyone shook. In a recorded phone call.
Now, with the backlash against cell phones, Wendy Williams is the latest to call out an audience member whose phone rang, interrupting her shows.
Wendy opened up about her life in an assisted living facility. And y'all, it's giving prison. She straight up said she feels like she's been locked up, barely allowed outside, and completely cut off from her friends and family.
Listen, this system has failed. This system has failed from top to bottom regarding this guardian and everybody involved with that.
And let's not even get into the fact that she's reportedly being kept in a memory unit. Like, what? For those of you who don't know, memory units are usually reserved for elderly people suffering from severe dementia and cognitive decline. But here's the thing, Wendy is refusing to accept that label. And honestly, the way she's talking doesn't sound like someone who's mentally gone. So, what is actually going on? Is this a case of a woman being unfairly controlled, or is there something deeper happening behind the scenes? Wendy described her living conditions in the most heartbreaking way.
In the last 30 days, I went out twice for my tea, you know what I'm saying? And that would be that.
She said she eats her meals alone in her room because being around the other residents is too depressing. And the worst part, she's barely been outside in the past month. Like, let's be real, prisoners get more fresh air than that. She even begged for something as simple as an iPad or her phone back. But according to her, her guardian has refused to let her have one. Yep, you heard that right. This grown woman, a celebrity with millions of dollars, is literally being told she's not allowed to call her own family and friends. Now, if you're wondering why she has a guardian in the first place, here's the deal. Wendy was placed under guardianship after concerns about her mental and physical health.
Fans of former talk show host Wendy Williams are showing their support for her after she revealed that she's been diagnosed with frontotemporal dementia and aphasia.
Reports claim she was diagnosed with frontotemporal dementia and primary progressive aphasia, two serious conditions that affect memory and speech. But Wendy is calling BS on those claims. In the documentary, Wendy flat out denied having dementia. And guess what? Her family members are backing her up. Her niece and close friend both say they've had long conversations with her and that she's completely aware of what's happening. Even Harvey Levin, the TMZ host who's been talking to Wendy on the phone, said he doesn't see any signs of severe memory loss. He even tested her knowledge on current events.
She was diagnosed with that a couple of years ago, and the guardian is now saying it's permanent, it's getting worse. So if she really has that condition, how can it get better if it never gets better?
Like asking about Donald Trump's presidency. And Wendy responded instantly and accurately. So what's the truth? Is she really incapable of handling her own life, or is someone trying to keep her quiet? Now, let's talk about the woman who currently controls Wendy's life, her court-appointed guardian, Sabrina Morrissey. If you're not familiar, Wendy's finances and major life decisions have been under the control of this legal guardian for a while now. And let's just say, people are starting to question whether she really has Wendy's best interests at heart. The The fact that Wendy's own family and friends say they can't even contact her? Major red flag. The fact that Wendy's begging for basic things like an iPad? Even bigger red flag. And get this, Morrissey recently requested another medical evaluation for Wendy, meaning even if Wendy is completely fine, she could still be kept under this guardianship for even longer. But here's where things get really emotional. At the end of the documentary, Wendy broke down in tears while talking about her dad. Her father is 94 years old, and Wendy said she doesn't even know if she'll be allowed to visit him for his birthday. Like, let that sink in. She is literally begging to see her own father, and she's not even sure if it will happen. And when she started crying, she quickly tried to cover it up because she knows that if she shows too much emotion, people will use it against her. It's absolutely heartbreaking. So, what happens next? Well, a judge recently granted Wendy permission to visit her dad for 2 days. But let's be real, that's not enough. Fans and family members are demanding that Wendy get her freedom back. But on the other side, there are people who genuinely believe the guardianship is protecting her from something. So the question remains, who is telling the truth? And more importantly, will Wendy Williams ever get her life back? Y'all, this is honestly one of the most disturbing cases we've seen in Hollywood in a long time. A woman who was once at the top of her game is now fighting just to have basic rights. Is she truly in need of help, or is she being silenced? Let me know what you think in the comments. And don't forget to subscribe for more updates, because trust me, this story is far from over.